Hi, my name is Jo. Welcome to my hip stretch yoga flow. Today's flow is designed to help you stretch your hip area, especially for people who sit a lot, whether in the car or at front of a desk, or just have a general issue with tightness around hips area. So for today's flow, you shouldn't need any props, but if you've got yoga blocks and you'd like to use them, then feel free to do that. We're gonna start. I'm gonna show you something that is quite important that everyone knows and is able to do that and feel this in their body. So we're gonna start with pelvic tilt. So when you have some sort of tightness in your hips, you will probably suffer from either posterior or anterior pelvic tilt. So I'm going to show you what it is. So in a neutral position, your pelvis should be like a bowl, and if you imagine that there's water in that bowl, that water shouldn't tip either way. When you have tightness in your hip flexors, you will probably have something called anterior tilt, and that's when your pelvis goes this way and it looks a little bit like that. So your hip bones will go slightly down and your backbone will go sort of up, and that bone will tilt towards the front, and that water, imaginary water, will spill towards the front. Now, posterior tilt is the exact opposite. So your pelvis will go that way, so it will tilt to the back, and your lumbar curve will become much shallower, and your pelvis will be this way, which means that imaginary water is spilling to the back. So posterior, anterior, posterior, anterior, posterior, anterior. So everyone has this range of motion. Now it is important that during the day you keep your hips in a neutral position, so it's not this way or that way, it's somewhere in the middle. So that's what we are aiming for, and stretching all those muscles that do this motion basically will help you to keep your hips neutral and safe and tightness free. So we're going to start with a little warm-up. So if you come to tabletop pose, tuck your toes, and on the exhale we're going to push hips up and back to downward facing dog. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can have your knees bend, your heels off the mat, doesn't matter. And then on the inhale we're going to come back and lightly put the knees on the mat, back to the tabletop sort of cow pose. So now we've got our anterior tilt, and then back on the exhale and down on the inhale. exhale, and inhale, exhale, and inhale, and exhale, and inhale. And last one, we're going to stay in down dog. So exhale, and stay here. Now, no, actually not, my mistake. Let's go back to tabletop. It's a little bit more of that warm up. We're going to do some hip circles, starting with your right leg. So we're just going to lift the knee, concentrate on the knee. Don't pull the knee too high, because that's going to tilt our hips. And just start circling your knee. Don't worry about your foot. Just circle the knee to the front. The circles must be only as big as you can without tilting your pelvis or actually involving your spine. And to the back, other way. Okay, place that knee back and the other knee. So lift and circles. Core engage, spine is not moving, just the hip. And the other way. And the last one. Okay. Now from here, now we are going to go into downward facing dog. So on the exhale, push your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, right leg up, knee to chest, and step between your hands. Place your other knee down and come up. Now here we are going to do two stretches, one passive and one active stretch. So the passive one, we're going to stay a little bit longer in our passive one. So passive one is when your knee goes past your ankle to the front, and here you're going to feel the stretch on the hip flexor of your left leg. You can place your toes down or you can keep them tucked, depends how much of this stretch you want to feel. And we're just going to stay here for the next few seconds. Breathe into the stretch. That means imagine that your breath is going all the way down into this area. Now, there's two ways we're going to come out of this. Two ways of doing that. So first, we're going to stay here and we're going to do an active stretch. To stretch this actively, you need to try to tilt your pelvis into that posterior. So you're trying to bring it forward so the water is tipping back. So bring it forward, the knee stays above the ankle, and you're just tilting your pelvis. When you're tilting your pelvis, you are going to feel stretch here on the front. Now, to make it more difficult, you can lift the knee off the mat and do the same thing. Just tilt the pelvis, strong core, and just tilt this way. So you're tucking your backbone, tucking your backbone for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and place your knee down and go beyond the ankle, passive stretch. Gonna stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back to active stretch. So tilt for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go back for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And one last time, this version or the other version, just tilt, tilt, feel the stretch on your hip flexor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and last one for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come out, place your hands on the mat, come back to table. You can come to child pose for a couple of breaths. And come back to tabletop, come back to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, left leg up and bring your knee to chest and step between your hands. Place your right knee down, come to lunge, low lunge, and we're going to start from the passive stretch. So we're going to go beyond the knee, the ankle for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come to the active one. You can do it this way and tilt. So tailbone underneath is tucking underneath. You can feel the stretch for 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back down, go beyond the ankle and passive stretch. You can place your foot down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. You can stay with your knee on the mat. Just tilt, tilt. Tailbone underneath for 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to passive for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to active and tilt, tilt. It doesn't look pretty, it doesn't need to look pretty, it's very effective. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to passive. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Place your hands on the mat. Knee to tabletop. Send your hips back. Child pose. A couple of breaths. And come back from here. Stay in the tabletop and lift slightly your feet and maybe come forward, leg into cobra or upward facing dog, sort of. Just stretch. A couple of breaths and come back. Okay, from here we're going to do something similar but with hamstrings. So the next exhale, come to downward facing dog, and we're going to start with the right leg. So inhale, right leg up, bring your knee to chest, carry forward, step forward between your hands. Come to a lunge pose, and from here we're going to go into half splits. So first part is on the exhale, go to a half split, straight back. Now here you can use blocks if that makes it easier for you. And we're going to stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to push this heel into the ground and like sort of towards our body, but it's not moving. We're using our muscles but not actually moving anything. So push down and towards yourself, almost like if you wanted to bring that foot closer. For 6, 5, so you should feel the hamstring activating. 3, 2, 1, and release. And now inhale and try to bring your stomach towards your thigh, closer to your thigh. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and push down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Inhale. On the exhale, down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release and push down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And last one. Exhale and come to half split. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Come to lunge. Okay. Place your hands on the mat and come back to table. Send your hips back. Child pose for a couple of breaths. Come back to table. Exhale. Send your hips up and back. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Step between your hands. Knee on the mat. Come to lunge. From here, half split for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same thing, push down for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Inhale, exhale, slightly lower for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And push. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't forget to breathe. Release and exhale. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And push down. 6, 5, breathe. 4, 3, 2, 1. And last one. Inhale, and on the exhale, lower down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Lunge. Put your hands down. Table and child pose. Come back to tabletop. Now from here we're gonna take the right leg and put it on the side. Put a little bit of a obstacle there. So put it to the side, straight back, and from here just send your hips back and send your hands forward. Nice side stretch. Breathe into your hip. And come back. Switch sides, so to the left, and send your hips back, back, back. Let that leg move, and hands to the front, and breathe. And come back. From here, bring your knees forward, cross your shins, send your hips back and sit. Now join your Join the soles of your feet together. Only as close as you can into this butterfly pose, and flap the wings. Breathe. Straight back. And slowly just flap the wings. Okay, the last bit. So if you have good mobility, you should be able to come from here into Malasana. But obviously if you haven't yet, then that's what you can work on. If you haven't got good mobility, then try to reach, and then maybe with a little bit of help from momentum, you will do this. If not, just push yourself off the mat. Come to Malasana. Place your elbows inside your knees. Straight back. Look forward. And relax. Your toes always directly underneath your knees, facing the same direction. You can stay here for as long as you want, but this practice is now finished. For best results, you should do it probably 3 times a week. You can do it more often, but 3 times a week should show you good results within, I would say, 2 weeks to a month. Hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.